Hi guys, welcome back to another fireside chat with me and Andy from 43 Clicks North. Today we're going to continue the conversation around creative and meta performance. Last couple of sessions we've talked about Andromeda, what it is, and why it has moved towards the creative as a targeting function rather than just essentially an ad as it previously might have been a couple of years ago. So we're going to continue the conversation and we're going to ask Andy, how do you create new concepts? Because we've talked about that a lot. New concepts being the one thing that Andromeda wants more than anything for that creative diversification. How do we go about doing that?
Yeah, it's not as complicated as you might think. So people will look at it and go, I need a whole strategy that looks at all these different formats. It's not that complicated. Starting point for me is if you're running a current account, you've got live ads, you've got data. So if you've got data, from there you can understand, you'll be able to see which are your highest performing ads, which ads are delivering what you want, what you need as a business. And from there, you can then start to look at it and go, I already have different ad concepts based on the different creatives and different messages that I already have. If you've got a specific high performer, and a lot of people tend to have one that takes up all the spend in their account, which usually means Meta see that as the one that's your best message, the one that resonates with more people or a specific audience better. If you've only got that in one format, let's look at how we can take that into different formats.
So when you say format, that might be static, it might be video. UGC is, just pick an example. So you've got a really high performing static ad there. Let's create a video that has exactly the same messaging, same type of information, but is now in a video ad that other people who don't like to engage with statics can engage with you in. Exactly
that. It's, like you say, some people will engage with statics more than videos. What Meta are now be able to do with Andromeda is only show you more ads based on what the type of content you like. So if you only like video, you've missed that static. So all we're doing there is saying, you've got a message which works well with a specific audience. There will be more people in that audience that we can go after. Let's just adapt that and take it into a different format. Let's put it into a UGC. Let's put it in a 15-second video, stick it in a 30-second video. Different styles of how you execute it as well, but maintain the message of the original ad that has been shown to work.
And you don't need to be trying to put in 3, 4, 5 different formats at a time, do you? You can just literally do one at a time, because you might be limited by spend in terms of how much you can put through each concept and through each ad, just based on current performance or budgets and everything like that. So throwing 5 in is gonna absolutely kill things, but you can just do one at a time, can't you?
Yeah, it could also be you don't have the bandwidth in terms of creating the content. So which one's easiest for you to create? UGC. Get someone on camera, you can do it yourself. Rough and ready, that's what people like. Yep. So it doesn't need to be perfect.
And that's when so that helps businesses when they're looking at existing concepts but putting them in new formats. Mm-hmm. Right? When we're talking about kind of properly new concepts, new angles, things like that, where can we start to be able to pull those together and get those briefs sorted?
Yeah, it's a really good question. When you're looking at a net new concept, first place to start is look at who do I want to target. You don't want to go broad in terms of I want to target everyone. If you're trying to target everyone, you're not going to target anyone because your message will get lost. So you want to look at who are the different personas people like to talk about. Which different personas does your product appeal to? Who does it match best to? And then from there, understanding what's their motivators, what do they actually need, what's the benefits for them, what's the use cases around that product. So for that, you need to do that user research first. So don't go straight to, let's just create more content, because you'll spend the time and budget and effort on building content that doesn't work because you've missed the insight of, firstly, why someone should care about this.
And I've seen businesses do this, and they jump straight to just throwing some ideas down, which I'm not opposed to businesses going with a bit of business-led opinion, at times, because the business exists and it knows the user, so they're going to have some insight within there. But I've seen accounts where they've had 30, 40 ads just thrown at them, and a couple of them stuck and performed really, really well. Mm-hmm. But the problem with going that approach is you don't know why they're performing well. Whereas what you're saying is understand what the problems are first, and then you build through that. So you understand actually this message resonates, as opposed to I've just created 30 brand new ones, don't really know what's working, hitting it against the wall, and okay, we've got 2 really high performers, but why are they performing?
Yeah, if you understand the motivators and the behaviours that people take, the pain points that they've got, you will have a much better understanding of the message that your creative needs to have, and then what they will want to do as a next step. If you don't have that, you're guessing. Less guessing and more understanding of a user will then mean you're more likely to have more success. Less chucking against the wall and just hoping for the best that something sticks. So with that, one of the bits that I would look at is, firstly, from there, you go, okay, once you've got those personas built out, and as part of that, look at the reviews that people will be sending you through your Trustpilot or review platform that you've got. You could go on social platforms, do a bit of social listening. So Reddit's a really good place that people don't really use, because on there, people talking about not just your brand, but the subject, the category, and actually find out the problems people have. Build that into the personas that you've got. Again, you'll have a much better understanding of what it is that they need.
There's lots of tools that can help with this as well.
Oh, all sorts of tools. You don't need to spend a fortune on tools. You don't even need to pay for tools at times. So the review platforms, there's reviews there. Just go there. You've just got to crawl them, take the data. You can manually go through them yourselves, or throw them into an AI platform and ask it to pull out the key motivators, problems that people have, and so on. Where you can also use the tools so you've got the Facebook ad library. That's a free platform where you can see live and inactive ads from different brands. From there, you'll start to understand the ads that they've got that are live. And now there's a really interesting feature of add-on which talks about the impressions that they've had. So if an ad's classed as low impressions, it's probably not getting spent from Meta and probably isn't something that they deem as relevant for an audience. Stay away from that. So you can do that, or you can use other platforms like Anatria, like Emotion, they're 2 that we use to look at ad performance and use it to find out what what sort of ads are out there as well, and build them, break them down by categories, so then we can get an easier understanding of different angles that people are going with, and problem solutions, features, all that sort of stuff, benefits.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I remember us doing one with Trustpilot. So a client of ours, we had access to the Trustpilot account, so we downloaded all that data, and I think it was just ChatGPT. We bunged that into to analyze that data. I mean, bear in mind, 10 years ago, I used to do this sort of stuff for websites when I worked in CRO, and it used to take days to be able to analyze that data. So some of the tools that we've got now make it so much quicker and so much easier to be able to kind of go get that insights and that information.
It does give it a sense check though.
Yes.
Yeah, never completely just trust it and trickle it across to the AI platform. It does make it a lot quicker for you. So what used to take days can now be done in an hour or 2.
Yeah. So we've got new concepts now. So we've gone through the process. We've got some new ones from our high performers. We've got some new ideas from user research. When we want to implement and add these to the account, what are some of the things that we need to be aware of to make sure that, we're getting good data back? We know whether they're winners, we know whether they're losers. What should we be doing now?
Reframe what you see as a winner and a loser. So most brands will look at it and they'll go, has it hit my sales objective? I've put it in a campaign, the objective is drive sales. So they're going to view that on CPA, purchases, ROAS. You do that too soon, you're not giving it a chance to find the right audience. Because again, Meta is about exploration. So it's going to take time for it to find the right people. So with that, you need to reframe what you view as success. So move from a business metric of success to a platform measurement of success. A platform measurement of success is, are Meta allowing this ad to explore? Do they see this as an ad that can go out to find the right audience for it? So move away from your purchases and so on and look at, is it driving a higher reach per pound? So am I getting in front of more people for every pound that I spend? Is it getting engagement? So are people commenting on it, liking on it, saving it? Are they finding the content of that advert useful? If they're not, they're sending a message back to Meta that this isn't interesting. They'll cut the exploration off. Are people clicking on it? Again, that's a measurement of, I found this interesting, I want to find out more. So it's more of these softer metrics, if you like, that will allow you to to understand more about, is this going to get the spend to be able to go and explore? Or because Meta can make decisions really quickly about a winning ad and a losing ad much quicker than we can.
But that depends on the data we then feed into Meta, doesn't it? So like we was again analysing an account a couple of weeks ago, and comparing to one was a lead gen client, one was an ecom client. So ecom, we get to feed it straight data in terms of it gets to know when someone's added to a basket, when someone's made a purchase. You can turn on and go, okay, that ad had this revenue performance. You can use tools like Motion to be able to make sure that you've got the right hook rate and everything like that. That makes perfect sense. But on the lead gen side, it was all Facebook forms. Mm-hmm. And ultimately what Facebook and Meta was doing there was then optimizing and putting spend through ad creative that was generating feedback for the Facebook lead forms. So you're getting loads of lead forms through it, but because it wasn't tied up to their CRM properly, it didn't know whether any of those leads were any good. Mm-hmm. So you had some really high performing creatives, and on platform metrics looked really good, but on business metrics looked terrible. So you've got to make sure you've got that data integration set up right, haven't you?
You do. In that example, the platform was doing exactly what they were being asked to do, which was go and find more leads. So it was going to find more leads, but the quality of them was dropping off because they weren't the right type of leads. Yep. It was getting people to fill in a form. 2 lines on the form, it was doing its job. So you need to make sure you're asking it to do the right thing for you. And then from there, are you tracking the right data behind that to say it's doing exactly what we need it to do as a business?
Yeah. There's a whole data piece there that we could have a completely separate conversation about.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. What about learning phases? Because this is something that's all we always talk about. It always comes up and it can cause a few problems, can't it?
Yeah, people want to avoid learning phases. So the only way really to avoid a learning phase is don't launch a new ad. Now, if you do that, you're not feeding the platform any new people to go after, concepts to go after and find new people. You're going to see diminishing returns because that ad's going to fatigue because people have seen it however many times, but you're not giving the platform, you're saying to the platform, I want to spend more, but I'm only giving you a really limited volume of creative to show people. So then people naturally will fatigue because they've seen it, and we know that after 3 or 4 views of a piece of content, the click-through rate massively drops off. So a learning phase, it's not bad. It needs that time to understand that I'm finding the right people. Don't judge your performance within that learning phase. So if you give it the time to go and find the people and you accept learning phases are just part of the job, it's going to happen. So don't view it as a bad thing. It's a time for, the way I look at it is, it's a time for me to learn and gain insights about what could work and what isn't working and why and how could it be better.
Yeah, but it's that exploration piece, isn't it? We've already said Meta wants to go and find people that like that content. Mm-hmm. Because if the more good content it's got on the platform, the more people stay on the platform, the easier it is for them to monetize those users. Mm-hmm. So it needs that time to be able to go and put that content in front of people and see what the response is, which means there's going to be an element of wasted budget within that learning phase. But it's not really wasted because it's finding out who not to put this ad in front of. Mm-hmm. And if it gets at the end of it and isn't really spending much money, it's because, ultimately it's not a good ad. Yeah. It's not a good bit of content. Yeah. Or it's managed to find the right people and then it starts mm-hmm. spending and putting it in front of those.
If a learning phase is a problem for you, that's because you don't have enough ads. You shouldn't be launching a new ad and saying, this has to work now. That means you haven't got enough diversity in your account. You're so reliant on a really small number of creatives and ads to drive your business success. Yeah. It means you don't understand the platform.
And you can get around that as well. You can kind of have a bit of a test budget, can't you? Mm-hmm. To be able to turn around and say, well, actually, if we know we've got some good ads here that are driving good performance, but we want to introduce new creatives, mm-hmm. improve that creative diversity, find some new audiences, you can turn around and go, let's put 80-90% of the budget behind what we already know works, and let's put 10% behind some new creatives that we're mm-hmm. going to add to the account. So it's not that much of a risk.
Yeah, it's your learning and you're scaling.
Yeah.
You put your budget where you're scaling, you're behind what you know works, and you have a smaller pot of budget to find out what could work. And then when you see a clear winner, I'm going to move that into this scaling budget where I have a much greater degree of confidence that that budget will be used efficiently.
Yeah. And final one from me then. So implementing this creative diversity, that we've talked about quite a lot now, is whose responsibility is that in terms of You've got marketing managers, you've got ecom managers sat from a business perspective, you've got a creative team either with an agency or again in-house, and then you've got a performance marketing agency like us running your ads. Whose responsibility is that creative diversity?
I could be quite a politician and say it's everyone's. So it's the responsibility of, the way I'd break it down is, who has an understanding of your brand and your customer? There'll be certain teams in your business that do that. Whose responsibility is pushing the button and the media buying? That's a different group of people.
Yeah.
So, and those people have different responsibilities in terms of feeding into what is needed to make the platform work. You would say the media buyer has a pretty high level of responsibility because they're the ones launching the ads and monitoring performance of the ads. And it's on them to be able to say, this is what I need to make this work in the platform. But then it's on they can't say this is exactly what execution we need because they're not the experts in your brand. That's when I'd look more in-house or look more at your brand teams and the people who have that expertise and the people who speak to your customers to go, here's some great stories that we can tell, because these platforms are about storytelling and your media buyer won't know those stories, or they shouldn't know those stories, but the people who hold those relationships in your business, the people who have that insight in your business, they are the gatekeepers to that. So, and they have a responsibility to make sure those stories can be told, and the media buyer can tell you, here's how we can do it with the different formats that we have available and what works. So it's combined.
Cool, brilliant. No, thanks for that, Andy. So that brings to the end of this conversation. We could go into the data piece, and we probably will in another fireside chat as well. But thank you very much for today, mate. Very much appreciated. I hope you enjoyed watching and listening to this. If you did, please like, follow, subscribe, all the usuals, and it will help us produce more content. If you do want to know any specific content, drop us a message. It does inform in terms of what we'll talk about as well. So hope to see you in the comments.